All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to unravel a story that starts super small, inside a little glass box, but ends up stretching back thousands and thousands of years through human history.
So have you ever really stopped to think about it? You see a fish in a tank and you just think, pet fish, right? But what if I told you that behind that little shimmering world, there's a story of mystery, incredible biology, ancient industry, and our own deep fascination with the underwater world? Let's get into it.
So let's set the scene. It's Italy, way back in 1969. The whole world is looking up at the moon landing, but one young boy is looking into a small world of his very own. It was a gift from his uncle, who he called his Amazonian uncle because he'd spent so much time in Brazil. And that quote, that really nails it, doesn't it? This wasn't just some toy. It was a little slice of a wild, faraway adventure, a living piece of the world, passed from one generation to the next.
And the technology back then, oh man, it was something else. We're talking about a little 30-liter tank, held together with a metal frame. It had a filter that sat under the gravel and a bubbler so loud you could probably hear it buzzing in the next room. It's a far cry from the sleek, silent setups you see today.
But then, something strange started happening in this miniature world. The boy starts to notice his little community of fish is getting smaller. Day after day, another one just vanishes, without a trace. It was a classic whodunit playing out in a 30-liter box. And the culprit? Well, it turned out to be one of their own, an Astronatus ocellatus, which you might know is an Oscar fish. See, what looked like this harmless little dark fish when he bought it was actually a baby predator. And it grew fast. It started systematically eating every single one of its tank mates. Think about it. This is before the internet. How on earth would you even know? And that mistake, it brings up a really crucial point. You really have to understand the life that you're taking care of. And that brings us right to the science of it all, the absolutely amazing ways these creatures bring new life into the world. So when it comes to the basics of fish reproduction, for most of them, it's pretty familiar. Just like us, you need a male and you need a female. The biological term for this is dioecious. It just means the sexes are separate. And a sperm cell from a male has to find and fertilize an egg from a female to get the whole process started.
But how that happens? Well, it pretty much splits into two big categories. On one side, you've got the egg layers, or oviparous fish. A whopping 90% of bony fish do it this way. The female lays her eggs, and they get fertilized outside her body. Think about goldfish or clownfish. Then on the other side, you have the live bearers, or viviparous fish. For them, fertilization is internal, and the mom gives birth to these tiny, free-swimming little babies. Guppies and platies are your classic examples here.
And some of these egg layers have rituals that are just, wow, absolutely incredible. Take the betta fish, for example. The male builds this detailed floating nest made of bubbles. Then he does this whole courtship dance for the female. When she's ready, he literally wraps his body around hers in a nuptial hug. And as she releases the eggs, he fertilizes them, catches every single one in his mouth, and places them carefully in the bubble nest. And then he guards that nest like his life depends on it. It's just an amazing display of pure instinct.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. This whole fascination we have with managing and understanding fish, it's not some modern hobby that just kicked off in the 60s. No, it goes back way, way back. So yeah, our little story started in the 1970s, but let's just jump in a time machine for a second. Let's go back to 1504, when the Holy Roman Emperor Maximilian I was writing about how to transport live trout to restock rivers. And then, let's go back even further, to the Middle Ages, when a monk actually figured out how to artificially fertilize trout eggs. And then, let's go all the way back to ancient Rome, where the super-rich were building these elaborate ponds called piscine, just to keep fish fresh for dinner. And that, right there, is the key difference. See, for most of human history, our relationship with fish had nothing to do with pets or companionship. It was about food, about consumption, and often on a scale that is just, it's hard to wrap your head around. Just to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, look at this number. 300 million. That's not a typo. That's how many eggs a single ocean sunfish can release in one go. The sheer abundance of the oceans was and is just staggering. And ancient civilizations, they got really good at harnessing it. The Romans in particular were masters at this. They turned fish processing into a massive industry. And their most famous product? something called garum. It was this super potent fermented fish sauce. Think of it like the ketchup or soy sauce of the ancient world. They'd make it by layering all kinds of fish, especially the small ones nobody wanted, with tons of salt and just letting it bake in the sun for months. And what's so cool is that when archaeologists dig around, they find this fascinating split in the Roman world. Over on the Western Mediterranean, we're talking Spain, North Africa, they find these huge industrial-scale factories with massive vats just for making garum. But in the Eastern Mediterranean, places like Greece, almost nothing. The evidence for that kind of big industry just isn't there. It was probably a much smaller household thing that didn't leave much of a trace.
Okay, so let's bring it all back. From an ancient Roman factory to a kid's bedroom in 1969. How does this all connect? What's the common thread here?
Well, the truth is, our relationship with fish has always been a complex one. It's been about sustenance, like that Roman garum. It's been about management, like those medieval monks trying to stock their rivers. It's been about science and trying to understand their biology. And now, for so many of us, it's about companionship. That little glass box in your living room, it's really just the latest chapter in a very, very old story.
So, the next time you walk past an aquarium, maybe you won't just see a pet fish. Maybe you'll see a tiny piece of an Amazonian adventure, a medieval science experiment, a Roman industry, and a deep, timeless human connection to the mysteries of the aquatic world.